Hello. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Greeting to our global audience, and thank you again for joining us on this International Women's Day, whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening for you. Today, we get to hear from the women on the front lines of European energy security. My name is Olga Hakova. I am a Deputy Director for European Energy Security at the Atlantic Council Global Energy Center. While the percentage of women working on climate and energy issues in the sector has increased, women are still largely underrepresented in the energy sector, making up less than 20% of the workforce if we take a look at the latest numbers last year. Now, this number signifies barriers for entering the field and also staying on this career path. And these challenges are compounded significantly for Ukrainian women due to Russia's brutal attack on Ukraine's civilian population, on Ukraine's energy systems. This war started 10 years ago, and it has escalated into a full-scale invasion in 2022, which has hit a 2-year mark. There's urgency both around addressing immediate needs following these horrific attacks, but also looking at the broader, ambitious reconstruction efforts to transform Ukraine into a system that's dynamic and clean, low carbon, and can become a clean energy powerhouse in Europe. We have an incredible lineup for you today of speakers who will share how they're contributing to these efforts. First of all, it's my pleasure to introduce keynote remarks from Victoria Grip, who is a member of Ukrainian Parliament and is also on parliamentary subcommittee on energy security. Victoria, the floor is yours. Thank you for joining us.
Olga, thank you very much. Dear ladies and gentlemen, it's a big honor for me to provide opening keynote remarks at this remarkable event. It's very difficult sometimes to be a woman and to fight with our men, with our citizens for our own independence and our freedom. Energy frontline is not an exaggeration. I enjoy being a woman and I enjoy my work in the Ukrainian parliament. In our work, we have inspiring personal examples. Being a woman, we see the world from a slightly different angle than our dear men do, destined to give life and protect life. On this earth, we strive for protection for our children, for our beloved ones, for our country, for our planet. Though weaker physically than men, sometimes we do have exemptions on that one, but we are largely driven by emotions, and thus we are more imaginative and adaptable. In general, in our self-realization strategies, we are less dependent on retribution, profit-seeking, or vanity considerations. Compassion extended and compassion sought. For each and every living soul, this is the probability guessed of how we function and how we want the world around us to be. However, the real world is different from our ideals and is very often cruel. In very cruel ways, a UN report issued in 2022, the year of the full-scale invasion of Ukraine, showed how the aggression and its global impact on food, energy, and finance disproportionately affects women and girls. Just think of this. Around 265,000 Ukrainian women were pregnant when the war started and have had to endure physical and health challenges. Currently prevailing parts, almost 90% of Ukrainian refugees across the world are women and children. We need to protect their well-being and their human rights and security, ensuring that possibilities are created for them to eventually return home. Restoring our energy sector, the backbone of national economy, making it secure and efficient, clean and safe for upcoming generation is a key condition for that. Today, we have here an excellent selection of women representing each element of the energy sector, including civil society, business, and expert community. It is a parliamentary mandate to reconcile interest, to prevent societal antagonism, and to create robust legal basis for the protection and development of our country. Created back in 2023, the Energy Security Subcommittee was institutionally and mandate-wise ready to start adopting decisions that helped energy sector to survive deliberate and barbaric Russian attacks that have just recently been recognized as war crimes against civilians. Policies and regulations of peacetime that were promptly modified and adopted to wartime realities allowed donors to combine their efforts to contributing to the energy community's Ukraine Energy Support Fund, managed by USAID. It has now turned into a powerful facility and one of the most efficient international providers of assistance that is badly needed at energy frontlines. The subcommittee's long-term task is to ensure the legal foundations for the Ukrainian transformed energy sector to become totally integrated part of the EU energy system and serving as important guarantors of the continental and global energy security. And I'm very happy that my colleagues, mostly men, they allowed me to be the leader of this energy security subcommittee. Another major legal and regulatory adaptation is becoming urgently necessary in Ukraine in order to prevent and mitigate risks that stem from proliferation of weapons of mass destruction. Together with my good friend and dear colleague Lyudmila Buimister, she is also MP from Economic Development Committee, we were entrusted to co-chair parliamentary working group that will look into development and implementation of legislation and regulatory mechanism to prevent, counter, respond, and document chemical, radiological, bacteriological, and nuclear risks, as well as related threats, incidents, and crimes. We are working now on National Action Plan. And I'm very pleased to mention that now our US colleagues from the State Department are in the lead of coordinating the G7 effort to assist Ukraine in this paramount task. And by the way, one of the leader, co-chair of these coordination efforts, Niall Nelson from State Department, she is a woman, and she's doing everything possible now in order to help Ukraine. The group has already conducted a few working meetings. The process evolves at full speed, and it's a real pleasure to steer interaction with our participants, mostly men, coming from security agencies, military structures, government structures, and research centers. But parliamentary status helped in overcoming numerous logistical and bureaucratic hurdles when my team played a key role in delivering medical supplies for the US charities Ukraine Aid and MedWish International Foundation to the Kiev municipal hospitals and to medical facilities in the frontline cities of Kurakhova, Pavlograd, Kryvyi Rih, and other cities. I would like to pay my deepest respects to Ukraine volunteer sector and to healthcare workers, the majority of whom are women. Energy leadership role. As of today, event shows in the midst of ongoing war, Ukrainian women are playing crucial roles in driving energy security and climate action forward. Their resilience and courage extend beyond Ukraine's borders. Their skills and commitment to a sustainable future are vital for global well-being. But our road to energy security will be difficult, long, and at times treacherous. We need inspiration. I would like to briefly recall just a few women who set an example of devotion, professionalism, and stamina. Bridget Brink, the US ambassador to Ukraine, has been playing an outstanding role in coordination of efforts to protect Ukraine's energy system from Russian attacks. In her own words, Ambassador Brink stated, "We are working 24/7 to help keep the lights, heat, and power on in the face of Russia's barbaric attacks." A lot of consultants' action in this regard is realized within the framework of the large-scale Ukraine energy security project administered by the USAID. The USAID administrator, Samantha Power, what a telling name, is another outstanding example of women taking a leadership role in global changing contexts. Without any allusion to the current internal politics controversies regarding modalities of further provision of assistance to Ukraine, it needs to be recognized that the US leadership has been pivotal in navigating the complex intersections of climate, energy, security, and geopolitical tensions. And I hope that US Congress will vote positively for the assistance package to Ukraine, I hope in March or early April. Another encouraging example is Kadri Simpson, the EU Commissioner for Energy, who has played a crucial role in addressing the challenges posed by the Russian attacks on Ukraine's energy infrastructure. I would like to recall that energy sector plays a special role as it served as driving force and important political beacon for Ukraine's Euro integration course, starting from physical connection of the part of the Ukrainian grid with that of EU and Ukraine's accession to the energy community treaty back in 2011. She recognizes moral, security, and economic stakes of Ukraine's fight for independence, drawing parallels with her own country, Estonia, which successfully transitioned from the Soviet past. One of the revealing signs of such successful transition is the role that women play in Estonian domestic and foreign politics. In the wake of Russian attacks, Kadri Simpson has actively facilitated Ukraine's linking to the European power grid, known as NSOE, which became a reality as of first hours of Russia's full-scale invasion back in February 2022. I must say that Ukrainian Parliament, our Committee on Energy and Communal Services, we did everything possible in order that happened. Let's remain optimistic and courageous. In our challenging times, collaboration on solidarity between women of different nations brings hope that our homes and our hearts will remain warm. It is crucial to safeguard Ukraine's energy system and ensure the well-being of its citizens. Women will keep playing an important role in that. And I want also to express my deep gratitude to Atlantic Council, to Olga Hakova and other employees of Atlantic Council for organizing this important event. I think it will be great if we continue such practice and if we combine our efforts in fighting against evil. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you so much, Victoria, for your inspiring comments. It is my distinguished pleasure to introduce our panelists today. We have Elena Alexandrova, who is the manager of Insulate Nikopol project of Insulate Ukraine, Anna Ackerman, who is the policy analyst at ISSD and a board member of Eco Action, Yulia Burmistenko, who is the head of international affairs at DTEC, Yulia Rybak, who is the co-head of German-Ukrainian Energy Partnership Secretariat and is also advisor to the Minister of Energy of Ukraine, and Elena Pavlenko, who is the president of Dixie Group. Elena Alexandrovna, unfortunately, has very limited time and will be leaving the event soon. So I'm going to go directly to her for the first question, if that's okay, Elena. And that way you can make sure to head towards your projects and your commitments. While a discussion around Ukraine's long-term reconstruction plans, that's already moving forward, there are still some urgent, immediate challenges that must be addressed first to ensure that energy security and energy access is provided, and just basic services such as heat and water are provided for frontline communities, particularly those that are closer to the eastern to southern Ukraine. Could you talk about how your efforts are supporting these communities, and how could international stakeholders provide support for this work.
Thank you so much, Olga. Yes, I'm a manager of the project Insulate Nikopol, and there is a couple more cities which we are doing right now to help people in the area where is the still shells or there used to be shells, and people can't find any glass to cover their broken window. And we know how cold it could be in Ukraine during the winter, and because of this big problem of lacking the glass, and there is no opportunity for some people to buy new glass. Like in my city, I live in Nikopol, which is still shelled. All over the year already, Russian army is shelling us from the other side of the river, and every day we have thousands of broken windows in the houses of the people. And we need to help them somehow to stay warm. And this is our main goal. And Harry Houston from the UK, he came up with a brilliant idea. He figured out how to do the temporary frame from the pieces of the pipes and the film. And we are doing these frames which has like very good heating solution for the people. They are putting these frames in their window. First of all, it keeps heat because that wooden pieces which they used to put in their homes, of course, it will protect from the hole in your window, but it doesn't bring you heat. It won't keep heat in your home. And unfortunately, the moisture is always in your apartment. And when we did this, we already during the year of work, we've done 4,500 installations in the houses, and we helped 370 families. And when we came to one lady, she had 2 children, like maybe 5-6 years old, and she was bottling the water in a bottle. She had a water in a bottle, hot water, to put this bottle in the bed for her children, so she would be able to keep them warm at least how, because the temperature in her apartment was 4 degrees. She didn't have windows after the shell. When we did this window installation in her apartment, already in a couple hours, she called us back and she was saying, "Thank you so much." She was crying actually. And she said that finally, first time during the winter, the temperature in her apartment reached 10 degrees. And for her, it was a big, big breakthrough. So this is actually the project which we are doing to help people right now, not just wait until the end of the war when their houses and apartments would be reconstructed or will be rebuilt, but right now when they need solution this moment and they need to keep their children warm right now, this is the only and best solution which we came up with. And if anyone would like to support this project, there is a website, insulateukraine.org, and you can go there, you can find out everything about us, and you can see how you can support this project.
Helena, thank you so much for sharing this story. It's just incredible how much you're able to do with so little, and the innovative approaches, and how brave your teams are that are out there that are supporting these households. It's just incredible. Anna, I would like to go to you next, if that's okay. Women are known to be strong collaborators, and this is not just a statement. That there's been multiple studies done on this, most recently the Harvard Business Review. And these skills are going to be invaluable for creating and also implementing ambitious vision for the future of Ukraine, these robust reconstruction, revitalization plans, while also, as we heard from Elena, addressing the most immediate, urgent challenges facing Ukrainian households. Could you share some recent examples of building, or what it looks like to build an inclusive environment for stakeholders to contribute to such visions? Perhaps maybe some of your work on the Ukraine facilities, or some of the other examples of the things that you've been working on. Over to you, Anna.
Thank you, Olga. It's great to discuss today with everyone and have such a nice company. Actually, just before this call, I was meeting an amazing woman coordinating doing international advocacy efforts from a Ukrainian Rise Coalition, which is the largest coalition of Ukrainian organizations, not only Ukrainian, working on reconstruction. So we were actually discussing how we believe so much in cooperation and how it is important for us, and how many other people, doesn't matter men or women, don't necessarily see the need to cooperate with others, to build on partnerships, meaning that is, of course, it's always easier to know that, I can do it by myself, or I can do it with my team. Why do we need others? Why do we need, because it's a long process to actually get people together and so on. But I do believe in power of coordination, and so she did. So we are, thinking how important it is, because it's only through this common effort that you can actually strengthen the, in our case, civil society organizations. I also work a lot coordinating and just supporting this process of bringing people's thoughts together, ideas together. How it kind of, it builds up the civil society, the movement from within, but also it actually makes the change, and we know it since 2014. Ukraine, has undergone so many impressive changes, looking at how well we can coordinate actually during the very complicated times, I think it's really really impressive. So I'm at the moment, trying to meet all of the people who are working on the topic of sustainable recovery of Ukraine, sustainable reconstruction. And generally just now and usually throughout my career path, I see there is definitely more men working in the energy sector. Victoria already mentioned this, and of course we can see this, and this is quite striking usually. But at the same time, there is many women who are engaged in everything that has to do with environment and climate. So if you would actually see Ukrainian delegation at the international negotiations, the climate negotiations, you would mostly actually see women there. And generally speaking, women are driving a lot the climate policies ahead, and are, ahead of different climate movements and so on. And also when we actually merge energy and climate together, so we are thinking about, of course, first and foremost, renewables and the clean energy. We also see the numbers that women are much more interested and curious about the new energy, the cleaner energy, and to work there. But at the same time, I think I just want to underline, and I think it just comes very well with the topic of our today's discussion, the women and the front lines of European energy security. The reality in Ukraine today, although we are trying to look ahead in the future and building it up, the reality is that women, for example, in the east of Ukraine, have to become coal miners because their men went to fight in the army, and they have to feed their families. So this is the reality. Some women are now getting the new education to work in oil and gas sector too, because we are, our men are joining the army more and more because they have to protect us, the land, and of course they have to protect the whole of Europe. So we have this shifts, and at the same time, on one hand, it's even scary to think about it, because how come women coal miners, first thought is but at the same time, I mean, it's a dangerous profession for men or women, doesn't matter, right? And we are trying to move away from coal also with time, and are trying to find ways how to actually change this, how to build this transition path. And I'm quite sure that the more women are today will be engaged in the energy sector, the more can then with time also make this transition toward the cleaner energy. And it's not only about, let's say, renewables. The way we see with colleagues, I think, and many here see Ukraine as a green hub of Europe. I think it's a nice message that we're trying to actually say Ukraine could be not just producing energy, meaning, I don't know, having solar, wind power plants and so on, and then exporting electricity. It could be actually producing equipment, and it already does. It is producing solar panels, some parts of wind turbines. We could be producing heat pumps. We could be producing energy efficiency equipment. And for all of that, we need lots of workforce. And for all of that, we have to, goes one after the other. We have to actually have our people coming back. And of course, we have so many women who left the country with their families. And we start asking ourselves the question of how to actually have the women coming back and what, and these are really complicated questions. But in the end, what we need is for that, we will need to be rebuilding. And I think Ukraine is unique because it's kind of rebuilding and fighting all at the same time and thinking about how to rebuild better. Again, very complicated issues, but then in line again with today's discussion, how to engage women in this reconstruction and a greener reconstruction and a whole new challenge, because it requires, re-education and education perhaps of women who are already abroad today, so that it would come back and they have a home and they will have a job, and this will be these new types of job in line with where we see Ukraine again as a part of Europe, and also as this, as I mentioned, the green hub of Europe, perhaps. So this is kind of thinking, and I'm sorry, I'm switched from coordination, to kind of all of these big ideas, but I think it's also important to be discussing that. In the end, the role of Ukraine has to be strong. Ukraine has to have this strong economy in order to be further protecting Europe. And that is only possible if we actually go in line with, with the Green Deal and so on, and actually making the transition of the economy toward something better. And women here for sure play this very important role, and will do as most of the women in the post-conflict countries. It's mostly women who are taking this burden and also moving ahead. So there is a lot that should be done.
Thank you so much, Anna. I think it's a great reminder to be realistic about where we're starting from, in order to make those significant changes and transformations in Ukraine. This reality check is so important in the cross-sectionality of all of these issues, to really appreciate you highlighting this. Now, if we were to shift over to the role of the private sector, which is poised to, play an important role in both helping, rebuilding, transforming Ukraine, while also addressing immediate needs, but also could play an incredible role in advancing women in their talents and what they have to offer to this conversation. Yulia Burmistrenko, will go to you next. DTEC has been on the front lines of repairing bombed infrastructure, keeping lights on all across Ukraine. And amid those attacks, the company has gone through also unprecedented changes in record time at the corporate level, just to be able to adjust and to continue to do business during the war. We know that women have particular strengths when it comes to leading through massive, complicated changes. Could you share perhaps your expertise and other stories of how your team, how you have led during this challenging time?
Yeah, thank you very much, Olga. And thank you for the previous speakers. What I want to share will be actually echoing what they said, especially Anna. Yes, we are, my company is on the front line, on the energy front line, and there is a certain role that women play in this situation, and I'm going to highlight actually two aspects. The first is the current situation, and the second is the future situation, because they are very different. So, speaking about current situation, we are really at the energy front. My company generates, is in charge for 20% of electricity generation in the country, and our goal is now to help Ukraine with the war. We have to help the country implement this most important task. Russia has destroyed 60% of our generation fleet, talking about my company. So it's either destroyed or occupied. It's a huge challenge. We made incredible efforts to restore 10 power units and to bring back 2 more previously mothballed units. Speaking about the future, future is about decarbonizing by at least 2040, is about green, is about potential export of 10 gigawatt of Ukrainian electricity to Europe by 2050. And green is about bringing more security to the energy sector of not only Ukraine, but the whole continent. We have proved actually this by building 114 megawatts of wind power amid war. We were the first company in the world who did this amid war last year. And we were happy because not only we did it amid war, but that we have proven to ourselves that this new type of generation is hard to target and that the enemy does not try to target it. So renewables is more security. So what's the role of women in all of this? If we talk about the current situation, war means mobilization. 4.4 thousand employees of DTEC are immobilized, serving in the army. Most of them are men, but not only, but I mean, women are also taking part. War also means internal displacement of the population, and we see that internal IDPs are applying for jobs at DTEC enterprises. We have employed to date 3,000 IDPs. What Anna just said, yes, we have already employed 500 women at mines, at DTEC mines. They are all IDPs. They came, they were not working as miners before, and they said, we just want the job. And yeah, the company changed the approach and said, yes, okay, you are very precise, you are very attentive to details, so you can work there where you do not need to apply physical like labor, etc. So like operating mechanisms in the mine, etc. Talking about the future, there is a huge role that women can and are already playing in the renewables and in grids. These sectors provide huge opportunities for women and for girls. Women in Ukraine, I'm talking about statistics, are more educated than men. There are more graduates from the higher institutions which are women than men. And I'm looking at the DTEC team, which is now launching renewables in 4 European countries other than Ukraine. Many of them are young women, and they are developing renewables, etc. So this is the future. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you sharing some of the examples and, again, additional details of what the situation is like on the ground. Yulia Rybak, we'll go to you next, if that's all right. Currently, about 21% of Ukraine's national parliament's elected deputies are women, and 5 out of 24 people in Ukraine's just general government are women. How has the war impacted women's role in Ukrainian government, and what benefits what are the benefits of female political representation in rebuilding Ukraine's energy sector, and also cross-ministerial collaboration? We touched on this a little bit, including multi-stakeholder coordination. This was mentioned by multiple speakers, the importance of this coordination as we talk about the broader reconstruction efforts and such. And also addressing immediate needs. What mechanisms and what programs and policies can ensure that women are included and are set up to succeed in this pivotal period in rebuilding Ukraine?
Olga, thank you so much for your question. And first of all, I would like to say that I'm very delighted and honored to be with all of you and to have such important discussion, especially today, it's International Women's Day. But I would like to start actually with also some numbers. Yes, we inspired about your numbers. It's not bad, I would say, about the role of our women in the government sector. But I would like to highlight that now we have such statistics. So around 46,000 women are currently serving in the Ukrainian armed forces. And actually, I would like to say that we are extremely proud of our women They're really extremely brave, and actually during 2 years of full-scale invasion, this terrible war, our Ukrainian nation proved to be very brave and strong, incredible strong, and our government has proved to be extremely resilient. Of course, we are very grateful to our allies and international partners, but it is very important that we prove to be our resilience, and it is important that if we will see the role of women in the government, yes, we can really see that it is now a very important role. We have a first Vice Prime Minister, Yulia Sviridenko, so she is doing a great important contribution. We have Vice Prime Minister Olga Stefanishyna. She is doing incredible real activities for Euro integration, for accession of our country to EU, and I'm very inspired by the speech of Victoria Grip MP, that she highlighted that she is having a leading role with her colleagues, women, and really they're ruling the energy front. And you see, here we have a really empowerment, strong women in the government. And of course, in the Ministry of Energy, we have also women on board, and doing really a great, I hope, a great important contribution. And our goal, of course, is like our freedom, our independence, and of course, green recovery and reconstruction of Ukraine. And definitely, we see that now men can't travel, actually, according to our martial law. So in that case, women, not only in the government, but we have a great women now who became an advocates for Ukraine abroad, and you see volunteers and civil society, and it is exactly in the hand of our strong and brave women. Yeah, and of course, I also would like to highlight, I'm impressed by this quote. I was made some small research to be prepared for our discussion, and I'm really like this. I would like to share it with you, that women's political participation is essential for building a more just and peaceful world. You see, it is like the quote. I would say it's very important. So for peaceful world, it's exactly what we are searching for. And we highlighted today all our colleagues, my colleagues, because it's all energy front, I would say, all these leaders, women leaders in energy. But I would say that we have good representation, but of course, the more the better. And you see, for peaceful world, we need exactly political participation of women. I like this quote. So, and I of course support this definition. And about initiatives, actually, German-Ukrainian Energy Partnership initiated very important platform. Women, Women in Energy United for Ukraine. It is important to have the right name. So, and we launched it when the war started, and this platform became such important, supporter, a bridge for women, because Anna Ankerman, she said very correctly that a lot of women, professional women, but they had to leave the country due to occupied territories, in order to be safe with the children. And our initiative that was launched under Energy Partnership and implemented by DENA, German Energy Agency, and Women Energy Club. We have such a good also initiative in Ukraine. So that supported the women who had to really leave Ukraine, and we made very big programs important in order to have trainings, in order to have possibility with the networking, when women can really find some opportunities to have projects on board together with some German cooperation, etc. So I would say this is very important. And now we are considering how to continue this initiative and how to consider exactly our efforts within the green recovery and reconstruction, and to involve exactly this initiative and to involve all women in energy sector to have this support and to be united for our one goal: green recovery, reconstruction, and of course, a peaceful, independent Ukraine.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate your remarks, and also just synchronizing the themes of peaceful, just society and the role of women in such society, how important it is to include women to reach such goals, as well as the decarbonization, energy security conversation. We will talk to Olena Pavlenko next, who will share some of the Dixie's group's perspective. Your group, Dixie Group, is known for providing leading analysis on the latest developments in Ukraine's energy sectors, including valuable roadmaps and recommendations for achieving both climate and security goals and objectives. And of course, some of these efforts necessitate regulatory changes, reforms. Some of them are more on the technical side. Some of them are on the financial recommendations and solutions. Could you talk about maybe some success stories or examples where your analysis and your leadership has provided guidance and has informed successful decisions at perhaps either at the government level or in other areas in Ukraine?
Thank you. Thank you very much for the possibility to talk today, especially in such a great audience. I will start from, I think, very success story with a great impact. And it started a bit before when the full-scale invasion started. You remember in 2017, Olena, Olga Belkova being a member of the parliament, Alona Osmolovska being a representative of Naftogaz, were traveling around the Europe and saying that, please, let's stop building Nord Stream 2, because that's a threat for energy security of Europe, and not only it will stop the gas transit through Ukraine. And to say the truth, I think that was a huge impact of many of Ukrainians women as well, not only to stop Nord Stream 2, but to make Europe think more about its energy security. It's very pity that the war actually became this wake-up call for many European countries. But nevertheless, I'm really happy that we contributed, even in 2017 and later, to then start thinking more about energy security at the all European level. During the war, during this full-scale invasion, I have to say that a lot of Dixie Group people, but not only Dixie Group members, are working on energy security at different levels. We have our financial director who has 2 children. Her husband is working on a front line. Her workload increased, I think, 4 or 5 times during the last year, because we've got a lot of projects. And she always is saying that we have to work because we have to show some impact. We have Victoria in our team, who is working with local communities to help them in the development of local energy plants, to be more resilient at the local level in terms of energy security. We have Milena, my colleague, who is developing a school for energy policy. And this year they trained, I think, several hundreds of Ukrainians who in about the European energy regulation, energy English, to increasing the capacity, not only in business, but also in the government. We had a great team of National Energy and Climate Plan, who is drafting the National Energy and Climate Plan. And we have Lisa, Yulia, Olena, and many other women who are developing the energy strategy, I would say, national energy strategy and climate for till 2030 for the Ukrainian government. So as you see, we are working on so many topics in so many fields, both internationally, nationally, and that's not only Dixie. There are so many women who are contributing now to energy security of Ukraine. We'll be happy to talk later more what we need in order to be further successful. But just want to say that, yes, women are very active. Women are contributing not only their efforts, but much more than just working time. And they really, really need a lot of support from all possible stakeholders to stay strong during this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Elena. And this is such a smooth segue to our next question, and we'll go in reverse order. So I'll come back to you on, you've shared just inspiring, tremendous stories of the efforts and how you're contributing to solving these complex, just multilateral issues at the same time. How can the international communities, how can allies from both kind of the government, public support, but also international NGOs, groups, and other stakeholders, private sector, international companies, how can they do a better job of supporting these efforts, of advancing these efforts, expanding these efforts in some areas? Are there some specific tangible things that could be done both in the short term, immediately this year, to provide that kind of specific support, as well as the broader, longer term reconstruction efforts? And Elena, if you don't mind, we'll just, go to you, since we're going to go in reverse order this time, just to mix things up.
Okay. Happy to start. I want to say that all women in Ukraine, as all men, they just want the war to stop as soon as possible. So I will just repeat what Ukraine need to win the war as soon as possible. We really need weapons, and I really, really would be happy to see the voting in Congress in order to provide as much as possible support to Ukraine right now. Second, we need more sanctions against Russia. I would be very thankful if all allies of international partners could increase the pressure on Russia in order to really make it thinking about its own economic problem, not about geopolitical dreams. And it will stop the war not only in Ukraine, it will solve a lot of problems in Moldova, in Georgia, in Syria, in so many other countries. So I just don't understand what we are waiting for. And why we are freezing so many international conflicts. So my proposition, my beg to the international community in order to support women would be more weapons to win the war as soon as possible, more economic sanctions to stop Russia behave as it behaves now, and of course a lot of support to Ukraine to help it with not only just with recovery, but with green recovery, to be modernized country and to be a member of the European Union, a successful member of the European Union in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Elena. Yulia Rybak, if you would like to go next.
Thank you, Olga. I absolutely supporting what Elena Pavlenka said. That is very important. I would say that is the most important expectation that is now within the civil society, within the government, within the nation of Ukraine. So that's absolutely clear. Then I would like to specify on the initiative that have been launched, and that's very important for Ministry of Energy, for energy sector. So first of all, I would like to highlight a very important initiative, Net Zero World. Yes, so climate smart women energy leadership. That is so important program, and I was happy to be the first woman who participated from Ukraine, from the Ministry of Energy, and I can share with you that we have a great actually results already. So we launched pilot project in damaged municipality. It is Kharkiv Oblast. The municipality name Mrefa, everyone knows, because there was a huge, really missiles attacks, and big solar power plant was damaged, and this news was everywhere with a terrible picture from Iskander and this destroyed solar plant. And what we already managed to do, so we are now making a restoration demo project and developing a microgrid for this municipality. And I'm very delighted that we have such initiatives, and it is initiative within the actual women who are on board, who are leading this program, and I'm in charge of development of action plan within this initiative. And of course, would be great if we could continue and could include another municipalities who are damaged and who really we need to support them. We need really to have a pilot projects, because actually we have a lot already on the ground, feasibility studies even, because we have really well-prepared municipalities with a great civil society team who are doing a great job. But now what we need really financial support, how to implement, how to mobilize financing for these important restoration projects. Also, I would like to highlight that Women for Energy United is also important initiative that is launched by German government, but also very important, and we need to continue. We need to continue and to have some financial support as well, because now we are not in operation, and I'm a little bit concerned, and it will be very important if we will continue and we could have trainings, important programs, because we are now on the path of reconstruction and recovery, and we need to have really new technologies, green technologies. We are considering about our green future, but we need to have also knowledge for that to really to mobilize our women who are searching really for these possibilities, but need some support on our side. So it's very briefly what would be great to continue, and of course it would be important for our women leaders to have these possibilities for networking, for bringing all women leaders together, and to finding some possibilities, some solutions, how we can bring capacities for our recovery and reconstruction project that we have already prepared on our side.
Thank you so much. Yulia Burmistenko, we'll go to you next.
Yeah, I wanted to highlight three major things. As Elena said, the voting in Congress is very important, but also the role of the private sector and helping Ukraine establish the gender equality in the society. I'll explain you why. So why we need voting in the Congress? Because yes, Ukrainian energy sector needs more air protection systems so that we can better defend and provide electricity until we win this war. Well, this first. Second, I need to highlight that the private sector suffers from the fact that there is no trust to the private sector, not enough trust. Please believe us. Please believe that we can be the drivers of the economic revival. We can create more jobs. We can pay taxes to the budget. We can start or restart the economy and keep the ball rolling, so that the economy can finance itself, and then the donors' money will be more coming to the military front and military side. So this is our like belief, because now most of the support is coming to the state-owned enterprises, and the private enterprises are deprived of this source of funds. We think this has to be balanced. And the last point is about helping to restore balance in the Ukrainian society and in the economy. What I mean by this is that not only women suffer from inequality, but men suffer most now. Because men are on the front line, military front line, men carry all the burdens of the economic troubles that we experience, and women mostly take the kids, and some of them go abroad. Families are ruined, the whole society is ruined. This is not the way to go. We should have had a more equal society where men and women share the same, not only benefits, but responsibilities for everything, so that when something happens to the economy, we share it, we share everything, and then we all suffer less than we do suffer now. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Anna, we'll go to you next about where you think the support can make the greatest difference.
Of course, I can only support and agree with everything that was just said. Security is first. I mean, victory is first. Security for everyone. And of course, air defense, not just for the sake of protecting the energy infrastructure and people's lives too. We are in a mode where, all of that is first and foremost important because it's a wartime. I would perhaps like to build on what I just said was also what I said previously, that we are, and the colleagues also said that again and confirmed that we are fighting and rebuilding all at the same time, because we don't want people to be just constantly leaving. We want them actually to have a place to stay, to live with their families too. And they want to stay, you know, many Ukrainians want to stay, many want to come back home too. But then with that, we are also developing many strategies at the moment. So just recently, you know, the government approved the procurement strategy that was prepared with the support of different international partners. There is other ones. There's of course the national climate and energy strategies and so on, and many other ones which are in the process. Because again, we are planning for the future, even though for now it's hard to model what would be, what would happen tomorrow. But while this is happening, very often this is happening with support of different international partners, we are often forgetting about sustainability, largely speaking, as an essential part of this. And sustainability is not just about, economic opportunities, but also about inclusivity and social questions, and also including women already today and thinking about their role in this process of actually rebuilding. And so if we think about procurement, and I think this is something that was not even somehow touched upon, discussed in the new strategy for the coming years, but having a gender responsive procurement will be important to include women and to, in some cases, to make sure that they are part of all of the processes. Again, recovery in not only. Many countries were already rebuilding after different crises, after wars and so on. And there is good experiences from, countries like Colombia, who actually had these issues already, embedded post-conflict and so on. We can learn from others. So we have things like that, we can learn, but unfortunately now we are running behind time. We have to do so many things all at once. It's just that I think my ask is also not to forget, because both about men and women, of course, and I totally agree that men also deserve as much attention at this moment. But we have to be thinking, I think, a bit further now when we are building on these strategies, and how to actually have people returning also from the front line, both men and women. There is 80,000 women at the front lines at the moment. They're also fighting for our survival. Returning from the front lines and coming back to normal lives too with time. This is very complicated. So how in all of these strategies, how do we integrate that? This is crucial. And not just strategies, but also concrete steps that we could be doing already today with specific skill building programs, on-the-job trainings and project targeting, the recruitment of particular groups of people and so on.
Thank you so much, Anna. We are getting closer towards the end of the event, but I want to take this opportunity to do quick kind of closing statements from each of our speakers. Victoria, if you're available to kick us off, any kind of final remarks, key takeaways that you didn't have a chance to share, perhaps maybe any final, quick success stories or anything else to leave us with as we close this event. Victoria, we'll start with you, if that's okay.
Thank you very much. I think that's really enormous event, and we need to continue working, cooperating, and fighting against the evil. That's everything in our hands. And the more women will have in the leading positions, I think the better world we'll have. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Anna, final statements?
Well, on top of everything that was just said, I think just want to repeat it all again, how important it is to support Ukraine, men and women of Ukraine, everyone. We keep fighting, and I think the progress that we made was enormous. Just looking at back in 2022, we connected with a European grid very quickly, although a lot was done before. We progressed with the European integration. We are doing so many things. I think the scale of this war is enormous, but at the same time, we are doing so many things in parallel. We are learning so quickly. And I just hope that we can also inspire others, because Ukrainians are just unbelievable. Just important that we survive though, and that we survive as a country, as a nation. So yeah, that's I think that's the most important thing. Thank you.
Yulia Burmistrenko. Thank you so much, Anna. Yulia, we'll go to you next.
Yeah, as today is a holiday, I want to smile and to wish all of you good luck and I will explain you why. Not because I like you, but not only because I like you, but because I believe that it is important to focus on the positive things and positive thinking, and not focus now on the fighting. Because by just doing the fighting, we will be very much, like tired. We need to be successful, each of us, everyone, need to be successful women professionals at our workplaces. We need to be role models for the younger generation of women. We need to inspire them by our example and our successes. So let's still, try to be positive, smiling, and super successful. This is my recipe.
Thank you. Yulia, we'll go to you next.
And on my side, of course, I would like to say that let's stay united, because only united, we all should be united. Only united we can reach our goal, the main important goal. It is our victory, our freedom, but also a green recovery and green reconstruction. And we could really reach our ambitious targets to become a green hub, energy hub for European continent. We can be a hydrogen supplier for the Europe. We can be a reliable partner for many, many important initiatives, but only united, because we have really very brave and strong nation, strong women, and it is high time to really to implement all our actually expectation from the side of our great allies. Thank you.
Thank you, Yulia. Olena?
Thank you. Just to react on what Yulia said, Burmistrenko, we have now a lot of requests for fellowship in Dixie, and it's so inspiring to see that maybe 80% of the requests are from young girls who won't like to work with energy diplomacy, energy security, European integration. And many of them are at the same time are studying in the leading US and EU universities. So that's very inspiring. But to finish, I would like to rephrase, let's say, Margaret Thatcher, and say that Ukrainian women are ready to make difference in Ukraine, but we really need support to move forward. So with your partnership, with your support, with all our collaboration, Ukrainian women will be happy to make changes in Ukraine. Thank you.
Thank you to all. I am afraid we are running out of time. What an incredible conversation. First of all, just massive thanks to our fantastic speakers. And of course, thanks to all of us who've joined, to all of you who've joined us online from all across the world. I hope that this conversation did a couple of things and gave you a better understanding of the situation and the challenges in Ukraine today, but also inspired you by these stories, by these women, by these leaders, and kind of not just by this team, but learning about the broader efforts that are happening in Ukraine. And I hope it will inspire further action, not a year from now, not 2 years, not 10 years, but as soon as possible. So again, thank you all for joining, and massive thanks to our Atlantic Council team for making this happen. None of this would be possible without the talented events, AV, and our team at the Global Energy Center. It's been incredible to work with all of my colleagues to make this event come to life. It will be available on multiple platforms, online, on the Atlantic Council website, on X, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. So I do encourage you to share it. If you didn't have a chance to watch this fully now, you can rewatch it later, share with your colleagues. And of course, keep paying attention to the work that Atlantic Council will continue doing on reconstruction, on Ukraine, on energy security and climate, not just in Ukraine, but in Europe broader, and figuring out ways that we can continue supporting Ukraine in ways that is symbiotic for Europe, for the transatlantic relationship. Thank you all, and again, happy International Women's Day.
Thank you very much.